Boom! We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Untitled Political Stream here on D-Day Cobra. I guess you could call it the bi-weekly Cobra cast with more people than me, but that's not what it'll be called. But Cobra cast will be tonight, so don't worry about that. But we are joined by Ryan from RK Outpost and Patriot Outpost. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, just busy, grinding away. There's so much stuff going on. I finally made a video about the Trump arrest potentially yesterday when we got some of those leaks, because I've kind of felt like it was just not going to happen. It just wasn't going to come to fruition. And now here we are today, and it looks like it's kind of leaning that way. But we've got a lot to talk about regarding all of this nonsense.
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot to talk about. We are also joined by Suresh from 221 Be Tactical in the situation with Suresh. How are you, sir?
Doing amazing, trying to manage and maintain all this craziness going on. We got like the banking system collapsing, Trump getting arrested.
I don't have any money, Suresh, so I don't care about that. I know you do. I know it's a big deal to you. You got money in the bank. I don't got shit. I'm not worried. Bank can go under.
So you're like, let him go. Let him
exactly.
go.
Yeah, he's like, let him go. Who cares? So you gotta love it. You gotta love it. But yeah, the world's falling apart. But we're focusing on the arrest of Donald Trump because that's what everybody wants to talk about right now. And we just got this report from Fox News, and pretty interesting stuff for sure right here. Fox News says Trump hush money grand jury proceedings canceled for Wednesday. This is from Amuse, who says confirmation Manhattan. Now I'm not sure. I got to read the article, but confirmation Manhattan.
So Amuse put this, just to be clear, Amuse put this out earlier today, like this news.
Okay.
Right. And then we did get the Fox News article that did happen confirming what he said. So that's kind of why he's saying confirmed.
Okay. Got you. So Manhattan DA canceled the grand jury proceedings for today after a disastrous hearing where it was learned that he had hidden hundreds of pages of evidence clearing President Trump. Bragg asked jurors to be standby for tomorrow, suggesting he might go ahead and ask them to indict Trump tomorrow. This story is such a fucking clown show that I don't even know where to begin. Now, I've obviously covered it a lot here on this channel. This is the biggest circus I've seen ever, and I'm blown away by it, to be honest with you. Now, I want to show everybody this. I bookmarked this one too. Let me find it. Right here from my buddy Jack Posobiec. So right here, we've only had one president in the modern era of the United States who refused to start any new wars, and he is the only one they're going to indict. Are you paying attention yet?
Wow.
Pretty amazing when you think about that perspective. I am so blown away by this. This is the greatest political campaign for Donald Trump you could imagine. This is the best thing that has happened to him. And this is not going to hurt him in any way, shape, or form. He is not going to be hurt politically. This is only going to help him. But Suresh, I know you uploaded a video about this. I started watching a little bit of it the other day when you uploaded it, but I didn't finish it. So what are your overall thoughts on this nonsensical story?
You know, the video I did got a lot of traction only because I went in and I listed all the facts of this. Of course, you know, toward the end, I put in my opinion as someone with law enforcement background, someone who has charged. I have personally charged people with misdemeanors. I've handed them charging documents for felonies. I've worked with prosecutors. I've worked with high-level attorneys. I did it for 13 years. So the thing that a lot of people are not understanding is what they are trying to do here. And what they're trying to do is turn a misdemeanor into a felony. It's, let me say, plausible to take a misdemeanor and downgrade it to, take a felony and downgrade it to a misdemeanor. We see that all the time. We see charges being amended and you see charges being downgraded all the time. And in New York City right now, over 50% of felonies are downgraded to misdemeanors under, guess who? Alvin Bragg. However, now you have rapists, murderers, violent criminals who are being charged with felonies, getting downgraded to misdemeanors at a rate of over 50%. So that's why you have such high crime on the streets of New York City. But now all of a sudden, you have Alvin Bragg, who ran his campaign on one thing. If you elect me, I will indict Donald Trump. And that's what he's doing. He couldn't do it at first. Something that a lot of people don't know is Alvin Bragg, once he came into office roughly 2 years ago, he fought tooth and nail to try to indict Donald Trump. And he ultimately let it go because he didn't have enough. The Federal Election Committee dropped it. They said, in their own words, the facts do not support a crime here. The DOJ looked into this for 3 years along with the FEC, the Federal Election Committee. The DOJ also dropped it. They also dropped it. Their basis, there's not enough to charge here. Alvin Bragg's predecessor, Cyrus Vance Jr., the former Manhattan DA, went after Trump hard for over 2 years. He ultimately gave it up. That's all on record. This is not my opinion. It's all on record. They all gave it up. The DOJ, the FEC, Alvin Bragg himself when he first came in, and Alvin Bragg's predecessor. For over 3 years, they tried to do this, and they all had to drop it because there was simply nothing there. Now, all of a sudden, not only are they saying it's a misdemeanor, but they're trying to stick a needle in it and inject it and turn it into a felony because, as we all know, so it says, if Donald Trump is found guilty of a felony, it would preclude him from running for office. So most people on the right and left, they both know this. People on the right know why it's happening, and people on the left want it to happen so he can't run. So,
well, so that point about the felony, I said that on my stream the other day, and my chat told me I was wrong. So I looked it up, and I guess is that true? So from what I understand, because I thought that to be the case too, but apparently you can be a felon and still run for president and win it. I don't know though.
Yes, you are correct. There is the guidelines for someone to be able to run for president have to do with their age, place of birth, and there's like 2 or 3 other guidelines, but none of them say anything about criminal status. This is something that is kind of like folklore that, oh, if you get indicted, or from what I'm seeing and based on what I've read, apparently you can become president if you get charged with a felony and you're found guilty of a felony. Apparently. Is it a bad look? Of course it's a bad look. Is the other side going to use it against you like every second of the day? Yes. But apparently, by what I've read and a lot of research I found, apparently you can. I don't know if that's confirmed by any legal scholars, but yes, I've seen that too.
Okay.
It's kind of to me, it's kind of like when people are like, hey, you can't, the president, the vice president can't be from the same state. You know what I mean? And for that, they're using something that was like from 1812 that got changed and it didn't even specifically say that. It was just the way that they used to elect president and vice presidents. And that just kind of became something that people said, even though it's not reality. You can. There's no restriction on a president or a vice president being from the same state. So, and you are 100% right, Suresh. When you look at this entire thing, 2019, 2021, multiple different DAs, multiple different judicial systems, right, whether state or federal, have looked into this and tried their fucking best to bring charges for this. We talked when this broke on, what was it, like Saturday or something like that, that Trump put out that truth. I said, I just don't see it happening. I don't see them actually going through with this for a couple of reasons. I think this might be them trying to get attention, maybe seeing if they could have something happen. But the problem is, once this happens, if he does get indicted, the amount of scrutiny that is going to be on that DA's office, on every single fucking person there, if they've ever posted on social media, fuck Donald Trump, if they've ever done anything, that is going to be drawn out into the light. That is not attention that anybody wants in their office. And I just don't see it going out. Maybe this is Alvin Bragg wanting to fucking make a name for himself in these leftist circles, gain some notoriety for something like this, even though he knows he's not really going to go through with it. And that's why all of a sudden we're seeing, oh, it's getting canceled here. Oh, it's getting moved around here. Maybe because there was never really any intention to go this far. I don't know. I just don't see a circumstance where he actually does get indicted on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think that he's going to be found guilty of anything. I think the indictment is simply to get him arrested, to label him as someone that was indicted on a crime. And I think that like most people, like if I look at my comment section, I look on social media, most people think this is about January 6th anyway. They're like, well, what are they're trying to get him on January 6th finally? They don't even know about the hush money story,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the whole thing, is like, they just want that narrative that Donald Trump has been arrested. It doesn't matter if they arrest him. It doesn't matter. You're not going to hurt him. You're not going to stop him. You're not going to stop the MAGA movement. You're not going to stop him from being the Republican nominee. It's not happening. He will be the nominee. That's a fact.
I want to see Trump. I want to see Trump in office. I want to see him win the office of the president of the United States from jail. That's what I want to see. I want to see it happen.
That's like
also
that's like some.
So many of the conversations surrounding this too are so strange. It's like, okay, if Trump gets arrested, if he goes to jail, I mean, Secret Service has to go with him, right?
Yes.
Like the Secret Service has to be like in the jail protecting him. Like
Yes.
it brings up like so many strange circumstances if this fucking fairy tale ever happened, which it won't. I firmly believe it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But Jeremy is 100% right. This only helps. And I think there's a reason Trump went to Truth Social and sent out the all caps message about this happening. And it absolutely got people riled up. And it absolutely got people who weren't necessarily riled up being like, this is bullshit what they're trying to do. And it is only going to help him. And people said that. Chris Rock said that. He's like, what the fuck are y'all thinking? Trying to put Trump in jail? You trying to make him Tupac. He's just going to sell more records.
Yeah.
And like, that is the reality.
Yes, that is the reality. And it's only like these people just, you're not like, there's the obsession with stopping him is like nothing I've ever seen. And it won't, like, they just can't. He's broken so many people's brains since 2016. And that's the funniest aspect of it. I don't know why people just can't realize he's the guy. And that's the end of the discussion. And I think I want to move over to the DeSantis side of things. And I think Ron DeSantis has hurt himself significantly. I went from having Ron DeSantis as like a 9.5 politician to like, I look at him like he's fucking Mitt Romney at this point. I really do. I think Ron DeSantis has significantly hurt himself. You have fucked up significantly with what you've done. While this man is under scrutiny from a Soros-backed DA, which you have admitted, you're going to do your whole interview with Piers Morgan where you're finally responding. And like, do I think like Trump is hard to deal with for people? Of course he is. Of course he is. But you called him when you needed help to win Florida. You sucked up to him. You did a fucking full interview, a full promo with your whole family dressed up in Donald Trump fucking build the wall, make America great again. You put your own fucking baby in a MAGA onesie. And now suddenly, because you think you can win, Ron DeSantis cannot beat Donald Trump, and he's finding out the hard way. Donald Trump is smarter. He's better. He knows the game. He's more popular. He will not be defeated. And Ron DeSantis got a little bit of an ego trip because he's a big fish in a small pond. And now he is fucking his entire political career up royally. That's where I'm at on it. But
well, this is incredibly bad timing. First of all, this Piers Morgan interview was probably set up before this weekend it ever happened, right? And then all of a sudden, suddenly we get this news about Donald Trump, and it is the worst timing possible. I'm interested to actually see the interview to see what's said. Piers Morgan described it as Ron DeSantis slams Donald Trump. And then
remember what he did to Trump. We remember what he did the Trump interview where he completely manipulated the sound bites.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what are the headlines of Ron DeSantis taking this opportunity to slam Donald Trump? It's what we know is from Piers Morgan, what Piers Morgan said, which is Ron DeSantis slams Donald Trump. The couple quotes we have out of it were when asked about Donald Trump going after him, he's like, listen, I understand it. To me, that's all background noise. I'm focused on this. And then said, what is differentiating you from Donald Trump? And he said, listen, I would have handled COVID a little differently. I would have fired Fauci initially. We shut down Florida, then we reopened really quickly. That's all I've heard out of that interview so far of him slamming Donald Trump, first of all. Second, I think DeSantis he's made one massive mistake. And that was while addressing the what's going on. He said, listen, we're not going to get involved with this circus act. I think that's his mistake, is saying that. Because if he would have just said, listen, you have a New York Soros-based DA that's using political propaganda, that's using politics as a weapon, that's using the judicial system as a political weapon, that is a fucking problem. The rest of that soundbite, took a little shot at the porn star stuff, but that was his big mistake. And I don't know if just saying, hey, we're not going to get involved in this clown show, he's not going to be able to recover from that, because Trump is soaring off of this, and that's going to hurt him.
And Trump is always going to soar off this. Look, I was in the comment section of I don't know, it was one of these Trump memes. And by the way, this guy right here, and I want to highlight this. This guy's really fucking mad about my fabricated thumbnails. Guess what, motherfucker? I'm really not standing in front of fire when I'm face palming either, with the fucking nuclear explosion behind me. I'm not really there either on my thumbnails. Holy shit. Like, if you're just dumb enough to believe AI generated Donald Trump being tackled in the streets by police, then I can't help you. Clearly, your mom and dad are brother and sister. And even if they got a divorce, they would still be brother and sister. Holy shit, man. Like, do you understand that Donald Trump is protected by Secret Service everywhere he goes, except for when I guess Kanye and Nick Fuentes show up? But that's another discussion for another time. The police aren't going to get in the position to tackle this man. Jesus Christ. So I'm sorry thumbnails trigger you, okay? But that's the name of the game on YouTube. Clickbait thumbnails. Anyway,
I think that again, like I think that without that initial thing of I'm not going to get involved in this circus show, this clown show, I think that's the big problem. I think probably that he might think the same way I do, that there was never going to be an arrest, that there was probably never even going to be an indictment.
I disagree. I disagree. Dude, they're having discussions about it. Like, it's a real thing. Like,
I know it's out there now. Yeah.
But no. But this was happening. Like, these discussions are happening. That's a real thing. Donald Trump saw the opportunity when he was tipped off about it, and he did what he always does. He leveraged his fame, his supporters, and the pressure to say, no, you're not going to do this. So I think he got out ahead of it and played the game the right way. That's what 100%. I think happened. Yeah. And that's what he does. That's what he does better than anybody. That's why DeSantis was never going to have a chance against Trump. He will outmaneuver you in every aspect of it. He's been doing this way too long. He's too damn good at it. Yeah. And so I believe Robert Barnes. Robert Barnes says that Ron DeSantis got bad information, that Trump was facing way too many indictments, and that he needed to detach, and he needed to run his own campaign because Trump wasn't going to be able to run in 2024 because of all of this. And I think that all this sounds just perfect from what Robert Barnes said, that DeSantis tried that route because of bad information, because of people like Paul Ryan getting his ear and other rhinos and other people. And it was a horrific play for him. This is political suicide for him, is what he's done, I think. But we'll see. What do you think, Suresh?
Some people took it as he was kind of poo-pooing the whole thing as like, it's like a joke. It's not real. It's, it's not something that anyone should get really like up in arms about, because it's a joke. They're grasping in the air for something on it, and that's why he called it like a circus show or a circus act. And he said, I'm not getting involved with it, almost to the point where like he knew it wasn't like a serious thing, and he wasn't gonna get caught up in that whole charade of what they're trying to do to Donald Trump, which is, it's a charade. Let's face it, it's a charade, and they're trying to put on a show, and they're praying that they can somehow get the shot of Donald Trump being processed. They're going to make sure in every way, shape, or form that the mugshot gets released, somehow leaked. That's what this is all a charade. I think DeSantis was saying that when he said, I'm not going to get caught up in this circus act thing. I'm not going to get caught up in extradition or any of that. But I think the way he said it made it seem like he was dismissive of it. And that's what made him look really bad. And I agree with you, Ryan. That was the point that made him look really bad. If he maybe, and he's usually very good at this, if he restructured what he said and he stuck with the first part, that this is, I would have said outright, this is very disheartening to see as an American. We never want to see a situation in this country where the political system, the legal justice system is being used to manipulate the political system and to go after political opponents. And everyone in this room right now should be saddened and disgusted by that. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're weaponizing the legal system in an effort to alter the political outcome of course, an upcoming election. He's leading in the polls. So that, I think he should have just left it at that. When he's like, I'm not going to get caught up in this circus act. It is a circus act, and we know it. But the manner in which he said it was very dismissive. Some people said it was very condescending. Ryan's right. He did kind of take a backhanded dig. He's like, oh, I can't get involved with paying off porn stars. Like,
I don't know. Listen, if you're asking me about, paying off a porn star, I don't know anything about that. That was the dig.
And that's so different from him. Like when Ron DeSantis really kind of got rolling, whether it was Disney or some other stuff going on within the state of Florida, like he's so clear, concise, and on point, and he doesn't mince words at all. And when he responded to that, again, let's be clear. Clearly, him and Trump have their differences. Clearly, there is an issue. I don't know what the issue is, although I can speculate about what we've heard, and I kind of tend to believe that. But ultimately, if you're just looking at it as independently as possible, he's trying to walk a fine line, and I understand that. But it's so drastically different from the Ron DeSantis we have heard, the very forceful, clear, no bones about it, no bullshit, no punches back. And he was clearly holding a lot of punches back in that scenario, this is where authenticity comes into the equation. This is why Trump continues to not be affected by anything, because he's always the same guy. He's arrogant, he's funny, he talks shit, he blows things out of proportion, he says everything's the greatest thing ever. A lot of people are talking about who we don't know, but he says this all the time, like everyone's saying it, like who's saying it, but that's who he is. He's always done this shit. And he's the same guy, love him or hate him. He's the same guy. So anyway, man,
Jeremy, let me ask you something.
Okay.
A lot of people are kind of course, CNN, MSNBC, they're hanging on the words that Donald Trump put in that Truth Social post, where he essentially said, you need to go out and protest this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, of course, the nut jobs over on MSM are trying to say it was another, he was trying to rally another January 6th. Yep. And he's calling for, although what he said is in writing, they're trying to say he was inciting violence by that post.
Right.
Once again, we're seeing his words being twisted, and people on the left are eating it up with like a freaking spoon. So was that a wise choice of words? Could he have worded that differently? Could he have added the word peacefully in there? Say, hey, you need to go out and peacefully protest it. How do you feel about that?
I talked about it a little bit on Cobra Cast, but I don't like protesting in general. I think protesting's like super pointless, and especially at this point in time, because we've seen what happens when the right protests. Like the left protests and burns fucking cities to the ground, and it's mostly peaceful and it's brave and stunning. The right does it, and it's an insurrection, and it's the worst thing, and they're setting traps up for you. And even when you're in a situation where there's police officers and you're thanking them, it's like the whole thing backfired. So the idea of a protest right now is you're walking into a trap. So I never liked the idea of him putting that. And so even with putting peaceful or anything like that, it doesn't matter because Donald Trump's already said, like, go home, be peaceful. Like they've eliminated all of that from the equation anyway. So what I think he said protest for was simply because what he's doing. He's not thinking about anything other than himself in that situation. Because, and I don't mean that negatively, I mean that realistically, like, this man is the most persecuted human being on the planet. Like, you can't, they investigate everything he does. They blame him for everything. They're going through everything. His family's constantly harassed. So he's going, oh, you want to indict me? Oh, I got 75 million Americans. Go protest right now. So it's essentially putting pressure on them to back off and letting them know I do have an army. I think that's what he's doing.
It doesn't matter. Like, the media is going to fucking criticize him no matter what. It gives them some ammunition to be like, this is why Trump shouldn't be allowed back on these platforms. Look at what he's doing. He's calling for more of what we saw from January 6th. Ultimately, I don't think it hurts him because those people are going to be saying the same things. They're going to be repeating those same talking points. I certainly wouldn't be taking to the fucking streets for any of these protests because you can guarantee it's going to be feds on either fucking side of you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's a mistake if you listen to him and do get in the street for that. I think.
Yes.
Because they are desperate for something like that to happen again. So I would not take those words to heart. I would be smart about it and not go hand in hand with some FBI agents.
And the J6 narrative is just completely blown up in their face, and just of recently. And so watching that all play out has been fantastic. So let me get a couple of these. Oh yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. Like, and I love how they didn't want to talk about it when that video of Jacob Chansley came out where he's standing out there and he's like, Trump's telling us to go home in peace, everybody. Interesting how that video never surfaced with all of January 6th.
That is the biggest travesty. The fact that his attorneys were not given access to those videos and the judge who sentenced him to 4 years in jail did not have access to those videos. I don't care who you are. No one would ever want that to happen to them. If you were somehow being accused of a crime and the opposition kept video evidence out of the courtroom that could have exonerated you, I don't care who you are. That is just that's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And anyone who says that's not disgusting is simply un-American, because we wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to see that happen to a Democrat. I wouldn't want to see that happen to a Republican. And as someone who's had it happen to them, me personally, I've had that happen to me. I can tell you, any honest person who has even remotely been through something like that will say, no, I don't care. I don't care if I'm a diehard liberal. If I had it happen to me, I would say what happened to Jacob Chansley is wrong and it should never have happened. And I got to tell you another thing. The fact that you have Democrats in the Senate hearing that are grilling people like Matt Taibbi for exposing the truth, like they're upset about it. They're like angry that he just put out the facts and the truth and did his job as a journalist, and they're grilling him based on how much money he made. They're not talking about what he exposed, which was the truth, because they can't grill him on that. Once again, angry about the truth, angry at Tucker Carlson for releasing the videos that show the truth. It is like, it's so insane how their mindset is. It's like, let's not talk about what was released. Let's talk about the guy for releasing it. That's the whole. That's their whole premise.
Yeah, it is, and the nonsense will never end. And I still see people. There's a few people that are complaining about my thumbnail. So my next thumbnail is going to be this one. All right, if you are upset about Photoshops, right there.
I love it.
So that'll be my next thumbnail. That's when Tupac was spitting on the media.
Amazing.
The Tupac stuff is fantastic. And what did you retweet the other day, Ryan?
I've pulled it up right here. Yeah, I got it. This is so fucking funny. Donald Trump has multiple baby mamas, is on the brink of going to jail, and has a #1 song in the Billboard charts. He might be black after all.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That is amazing.
I love it so much, dude. Oh God, so good. But memes are awesome, and these Trump AI memes, I saw so many people thinking it was real yesterday, and I'm like, my God, how are we? What is this? Like, it's so obvious they're fake.
Hey, we're in the era of AI art, so if you're mad about it, just prepare to be mad about a lot.
Get prepared.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Don Dickinson becomes a member. Thank you. Mav Dick says George TGS called DeSantis being a snake. Vindicated. Hey, I'm not a big fan of what we're seeing right now with DeSantis, but time will tell. Andrew Knapp says F around and find out. Gabriel Knight for 1999. Absent of a Mad Max level economic meltdown, I think Biden's second term is inevitable. I feel like Trump can't win independent voters, and diehard Trump supporters won't support DeSantis. Would love to be wrong and told why. Well, in terms of way I look at it is Trump's going to be the nominee. I'm not even questioning that at this point in time. I don't even think there's even a discussion to be had at this point. DeSantis is dead in the water for his nomination. It's done. Trump's going to be the nominee. At that point in time, all I know is I can only speak in reality. In reality, if you think Joe Biden got 81 million votes, that's great. Okay. But Donald Trump increased his votes by, what was it, 8 million from 2016 to 2020. He increased. Now, I don't know, like in recent trends, I think that's pretty rare for a sitting president to increase. Now, you can bring in the mail-in ballots and all of that, and I totally understand that. That makes sense. It makes sense. But bottom line is he still increased significantly. So Donald Trump is the most popular person on the planet. I will stand by that claim. He's also the most hated. But the dispute is that there's no disputing he's the most polarizing human being on the planet. He's got the biggest fan base. He's got the biggest what does he have? 30% of the Republican voters, like they're committed no matter what. You can do no wrong.
Donald Trump said it himself. Donald Trump, if you think that this fucking arrest bullshit will negatively affect Trump, the man said it himself. I could walk out on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the head and they'd still vote for me, right? He said it himself. He knows that he's got that base no matter what.
He does. And so when you have that, why would you not rally around that as a party? Why would you not? All the leaders of the Republican Party, this is not on Trump. This is on the leadership of the Republican Party, the conservative commentators out there, and pretty much anybody that's not a lunatic leftist. Rally around what clearly has the most support imaginable. And I mean, I kind of want to play.
Listen, if you have a buy into these polls and these surging polls that are happening right now with DeSantis, dropping and Trump, taking off, then you got to look at what those polls were 2 months ago. And those same polls 2 months ago were pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Now, there's been a couple big things that have happened since then, which is, I think the Ohio thing was a turning point. I think that was such a great thing. Such a bad look for Biden, but a great look for Trump to be there on the ground doing things the Biden administration wasn't. He surged in the polls after that. And now we have this arrest thing, and that's caused another surge and it's caused a separation. So the idea that, it was always this big of a gap, if you're trusting those polls now, right, with polls, whatever, but those same polls 2 months ago told a different story.
Well, so I'm sorry for the pause right there. I'm looking for something right here because I wanted to show you guys this, okay? Because this is what drives me crazy about there's too many people that can't just fully understand that Donald Trump is the man, and that's the bottom line. I don't give a fuck what you think about him. He's the man, okay? So I saw this clip from Tim Pool, all right? I'm going to share entire screen because I need to switch. So I saw this, okay? So watch this. This was yesterday.
Can't hear it.
It's muted.
Huh?
It's muted.
Hear it. Yeah.
God damn it. Did I not share fucking audio?
And I do think that there's some people that think, 2020, I don't trust those election results. What will make 2024 any different? I do think there's some
I
people
agree with
out
that
there
100%. 100%.
You see what your mouse is doing on there, James? It's the same thing as mine.
Is it?
It's not
It's
even.
extraordinary.
It's already bad enough. DeSantis wasn't strong enough in his statement. Saying I'm not going to get involved in any way is already bad enough. If he actually lets Trump be extradited, so here's what needs to happen. DeSantis, if he wants to prove he's presidential, he says Donald Trump, he needs to come out and say Donald Trump will not be extradited from this state under my watch for a political persecution. He is the front runner for the Republican Party's 2024 presidential run. He is a former president, and everyone can see these charges are political. If you make any attempt to come into my state, I will use the full force of the executive branch to stop you. That is presidential.
Yeah, and
but he's not doing that. He goes, I'm not going to get
so
it.
just to be clear, the idea of even if you think it's a fucking politicized system, even if you think it's a bullshit indictment, if it is an indictment, a governor does have to enforce and follow the laws. So
there would
be no difference. There's actually no difference in talking about a banana republic with these fucking trumped up charges for this.
It's
if
not
you're
about
also going to say on the other side of the coin, you have to ignore laws if it doesn't fit your political standards.
It's not, but it's not about that. It's about the symbolic nature of it. It's about like they get into where could you imagine the visual if they physically had to forcefully, like, now we know it would never happen, but could you imagine if like he stood there and he's like, no, you're not going to do it? That would give him infinite credibility for as long as he's a politician. The fact that he put himself in that position, but that's not even the point though. I got the timing wrong on it, but listen to this right here.
Everyone's so scared of. Ask yourself this question right now, and I mean this with the utmost sincerity. What are you scared of? Why didn't you jump out of that plane when you went skydiving the first time? When you were there with your friends and they opened the door and then you changed your mind at the last minute and rode the plane back down and said, I just couldn't do it. Why didn't you go down that double black diamond with your friends when they went skiing? What are you scared of? Now, in those circumstances, I get it. What if my parachute fails? What if I go too fast, I crash, I break my bones? That I get. For Ron DeSantis, for a political position, what are you so scared of? What is anyone scared of when it comes to standing up? Well, what if some bad thing happens? Bad things are already happening. They're talking about indicting a former president for the first time on what we know is complete BS charges, well past the statute of limitations, to try and stop him in any way they can from being president because he's winning. What does Ron DeSantis fear by just getting on camera, looking straight into it and saying, Alvin Bragg, go fuck yourself? What is he so scared of? Yep. I'm sorry. I'm just frustrated because I am absolutely sick in every capacity. So much of everyone being scared of nebulous political consequences.
Okay, great passion, Tim. Wonderful. Yay, Tim. Oh, yay. I dropped an F-bomb because I'm pissed off because Donald Trump's the greatest thing ever. This is Tim Pool 2 months ago when Donald Trump endorsed McCarthy.
The right's like, Tim Pool didn't actually even vote for Trump in 2020. I didn't vote for him in 2016. I didn't vote. And in 2020, I voted for Trump. So here we are. The corporate press that Donald Trump keeps entertaining is just relentlessly smearing him all day. And for whatever reason, he just keeps giving in. Yeah, it's sad. Donald Trump's I got this big announcement coming out. I'm going to, we need a superhero, and then it's NFTs. At this point, I have to wonder if Trump is just retiring.
He went through this whole fucking video talking about Trump's retiring and he's done. And I'm like, this is the problem with these people. Like, no one stays committed to it. You get upset because Trump had an NFT. Okay, was it stupid? Yes. Is it in line with Trump to make himself a fucking superhero? Yes. That's 100% within line with Trump's ego to make himself a superhero and sell an NFT. Of course it is. It's Trump. Like, people are so finicky on this man. And this is why the left is unified in their hatred for Trump. And meanwhile, political commentators that have the pull of Tim Pool are too busy being fake butthurt because he had an NFT. So suddenly you're going to push the narrative that Trump is retiring. And now 2 months later, it's, why don't you stand up, Governor DeSantis? Why don't you stand there and make the FBI tear down your door? It's like, dude, you were just whining about Trump being retired because he had an NFT. Trump ain't retiring. Trump is 76 years old. And again, if he wanted to go off and be a billionaire 5-6 years ago and just have the rest of his life to be a king, he could have. He didn't want that. And he's sitting there taking bullets every fucking day like no other human being on the planet. And if we don't get unified behind Trump, then yes, Biden will win. That's my long answer for your super chat. That's my answer. Yes, Biden will win if people don't unify and get their heads out of their asses and quit with this DeSantis is better than Trump bullshit. It ain't happening. He's not close. He's never going to touch Trump. Trump's the guy. Fall in line and understand that, or you're going to get 4 more years of Kamala and Joe Biden. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that what Tim said, I think that there's like something valuable about what he recently said about DeSantis. I think the idea of we're never going to extradite him because I think that doesn't really make any sense from a law standpoint. But I do think that if DeSantis would have come out and said, listen, obviously, if you haven't noticed in the press, me and Donald Trump have our differences lately. But that doesn't mean that this isn't wrong. And this is wrong. And then I would leave all the stuff that he said about a Soros-backed DA. And I do think that would have been a big statement because, like, the reality is Donald Trump is the favorite. Clearly, more so today than he was 2 months ago, even when he was the favorite 2 months ago. And if DeSantis doesn't acknowledge that, then it's not going to work for him. He can't play that role by trying not to say it, but still say it. So I think that what he said was, yes, it's a political propaganda. This shouldn't be happening. They're using it. They're weaponizing politics, and that's wrong. He said all those things, defending Trump, but he didn't want to actually say Trump. And I think one simple, true statement like that completely changes the way that statement is viewed.
I agree. I agree with everything you just said, Ryan, because you are dealing with a master of the media. You're dealing with a master, a showman. Trump is a master showman. And DeSantis walked right into his trap. By not saying the name Donald Trump. Like, what do you think you're going to give him more publicity? Like he doesn't have all the publicity already? Like you should have just owned it. Yeah, clearly, President Trump and I, there's been some things said, and those things are, need to be dealt with at some point in time. But ultimately, what is happening right now to Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States of America, goes beyond anything that our founding fathers ever viewed for this. It just goes on this big spiel. You know what I mean? And there's no evidence to support this. This was already investigated federally. And he's like, as long as I have any authority over the situation, then no, I will not support them coming into the state of Florida and arresting the former president of the United States under no circumstance. If he does that, holy fuck, man, he may be even with Trump in the polls right now. You know what I mean? But yeah, he didn't do it.
I do think that we're still a long way from the election, almost 2 years away. I'm not even convinced DeSantis is ultimately gonna fucking say that he's running. I think he's judging the waters. And I think the odds are just as good that in 6 months from now, we have a DeSantis that's fully backing Trump getting ready for the election, to be quite honest with you. Whether or not the primary happens, whether or not the fight happens. And hey, primaries are primaries for a reason. Donald Trump has said some pretty fucking terrible things about Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy has said some pretty terrible fucking things about Trump. And at the end, Trump's sitting there endorsing Kevin McCarthy. So I think everybody to get so fucking ass blasted out of like proportion because two guys aren't necessarily having each other's backs, even though they're really on the same side, will be on the same side by the end of things. That's how we do that. This is what we're talking about in the moment stuff. But I think big picture, when it's all said and done, people probably feel a lot differently about both these guys.
Well, that's exactly the point that I made 2 days last time I did Cobra Cast. But I basically made a whole point about when two men, grown-ass men, and Trump and DeSantis are clearly two grown-ass men. If they're two grown-ass men and they want to work it out, it can be worked out. It can. But both parties have to want to do it, and they have to want to do it for the right reasons. I think Trump is a unique individual from that perspective. I think at this point in time, DeSantis is going to have to be the one that wants to really do it and kind of fall in line on that standpoint, which might be tough for him because Trump is just a different animal, man. And I don't know how you actually deal with somebody like that. But either way, Fascinating stuff, to say the least. Josh, for $100, says this is the best Inside Out Oreo cookie podcast. Guess we're at Inside Out Oreo.
They have a cookie like that, though, right?
Golden
they do have
Oreo
a.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And
do.
Josh
I've seen it.
also gifted 20 D-Day Cobra memberships. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Yes, no
Nice.
spam in the chat. So I don't care if you don't like DeSantis. That's totally fine. That's not really my problem. Don't spam the fucking chat. It's the only thing. It's the only thing that is asked of you. So don't
Follow the
do it.
rules.
Okay.
Follow the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, not that hard. Not that hard.
That's the only rule.
Yeah, it's literally the only.
It really is, right?
Yeah.
It's like
that's the only rule.
I mean, there are like other vague ones, like don't dox, don't make a direct threat, which are such rarities. But like the one rule is just don't spam the chat. That's all. You can say whatever you want. You can have whatever opinion you want. I want to show Suresh something that I don't think he's seen yet. We're going to talk
Suresh
about
like Jay says it.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
excited.
whatever. We're going to show him this video of Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci. Are you ready for this one? So this is from
When's this guy going to get
20
indicted?
So yeah, I heard that. 2021, is that what this is from, Ryan? Is this 2021, 2020?
2020, probably, whenever the vax got rolled out.
Yeah. So I want to frame this too, is like we didn't see this video back when all this was going on, interestingly enough. Josh says if you're gonna spam the dollars. You know what, Josh? Josh just called me out on my own rule, because you're right. If you want to spam super chats, I won't ban you. I won't ban you at all. Yes, we're closing on 2,000 live. Thank you. I will be live again tonight for CobraCast after a Fortnite stream on the main Geeks and Gamers channel. So if you're interested in CobraCast tonight, it will be happening. And I'll be following up on a lot of this and everything else going on. But with Dr. Fauci right here, Dr. Fauci is a terrible human being. Honestly, I don't want to call him doctor. Anthony Fauci is a terrible human being. And if you want to criticize Trump for anything, criticize him for this motherfucker, because Dr. Anthony Fauci is a terrible, terrible person that should have never been in this position to begin with, but he was. So let's watch this video with 11 million views. This is from our good buddy, Benny Johnson. Get ready, Suresh. You're going to enjoy this one.
People in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not like
It's much more serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the
God, that's such a fucking cell phone, dude. That's such a cell phone. Well, no one died from the flu last year, but all the other years,
and
all
it's like,
the other years,
bro. It's like going back to this period of time, like this nonsensical shit, which is like, hey, social distancing works, right? Because look, nobody got the flu. So if you're saying that happened, it's because of all the rules you put in place for social distancing. But you have to get vaccinated to protect yourself from COVID. So it's like either it works or it didn't. If it works, then it works. And you don't have to worry about getting jabbed if you're taking all these precautions, because obviously no one's getting anything. It's so fucking dumb that we went through this entire shit.
Yep. All right, let's continue on.
Previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. something else. It's something else going on.
It is something going on.
There's something else.
You're
going
right.
on
But
with
I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city.
Well,
but I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Sit your ass in your car with your fucking
hand sanitizer.
Oh my God, man. So what do you think about that, Suresh?
That is so, you know, there's a reason why I'm on media all the time. I'm surfing the channels, clips, everything. You guys know I'm not unlike you guys. I've never seen that before in my life. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why I've never seen that. And there's a reason why millions of Americans have never seen that. Because that might trigger some people, especially in the African American community, who was highly hesitant with this vaccine that was rolled out overnight, to say, hey, hold on a second. This guy's right. This guy has a point, and this guy is speaking up and pushing back, rightfully so. He has a right to do that as an American. Now, you know, most people on the left would see a gentleman like that and say, look at this. That's an Uncle Tom. That's a you know, a coon. That's this, that's and that, because God forbid a black person doesn't align with the narrative all of a sudden. And you know what? Although that guy could have voted for Joe Biden along with the other millions of dead people that voted for Joe Biden, and they would still call that guy MAGA, Trump, coon, Uncle Tom, right? Because he's just questioning what's going on here. And he's using his brain to say, hey, man, listen, once you start bribing people to take a shot, something doesn't seem right. And that woman, her response, she's like, yeah, something is going on.
Yeah, something is going on there. And she agreed with everything.
I'm like, oh my God, this is absolute insanity. That is exactly what they don't want you to see. And that is exactly what they don't want you to do. And if you do that, their only response is what? You're a racist, you're a lunatic, you're a right-wing terrorist, you're all these things. That's their only thing they can do. We see it happening in DC. We saw it happening for the last 3 years. Any single person, Democrat or not, if you questioned, like, hey, I don't really like how, like, what is this tested? Like, I don't know if I want to give this to my kid. Like, what are long-term effects? Do we know? Oh, you automatically became an enemy of the state. It was absolute madness. I'm so glad that guy stood up for himself. And guess what? He's better off. As we know now, he's better off for having taken that stance.
Yep. Well, I mean,
I think the black community may have a history of being incentivized to take injections, that people weren't being totally truthful about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So maybe some of those scars are still persisting.
Yeah, this clip, I don't know if you saw this. So the Hodge twins on this was good. They were saying he put the hand sanitizer on to get rid of touching the black man's home.
He touched that handrail. He's like, shit, I gotta bleach my hands.
God, I hate Fauci so bad. I really do. He's such a terrible person. Joe C. Pure Blood says last week Biden, Hunter, and Biden's brother had their bank records subpoenaed. A couple of days later, Trump is threatened with arrest. Distraction, Ryan's favorite word. I agree. There's a lot of distractions going on. Marcus Henry, Ron DeSantis is goated. People overreacting. Donald Trump came at him and he's punching back with the shrug emoji. Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I mean, Trump is typically a counterpuncher, and so I can only speculate that Trump was DeSantis was having discussions with people like your Paul Ryan, your Jeb fucking Bush is giving him a nod, you know. So it's like clearly the establishment wants him, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But when you look at the whole thing, I think Trump was getting ahead of it, and DeSantis has walked right into his trap at this point in time. But as Ryan said, we got a long way to go. So
hey, I think the like, oh, hey, we don't like this. DeSantis is just as bad as fucking Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan or whoever. Like, to me, what DeSantis has done in Florida in advancing, and I know you don't describe yourself as a conservative or anything, Jeremy. I do. And like advancing truly like conservative values and continuing to push those things across a lot of aspects, I think is important. It's something that I value. That doesn't mean I align entirely with everything that every conservative should or would believe, but that's important. I mean, he's been doing a great job here in Florida, and I'm looking forward to him continuing that.
He definitely has, and I'm very thankful for that. But I also understand how he got here. And what I was saying, I meant to say this earlier, but I saw people. It was so funny. I was in a random thread, and I saw people bringing up like they were basically comparing what DeSantis did yesterday to like what Legal Bites did to Ricada, and they were like, just like Ricada made Legal Bites.
That's funny, actually.
Trump made DeSantis, and now DeSantis needs, or Trump needs help, and DeSantis abandoned. So I'm like, holy shit, dude, we're in like Ricada lore over here. I was like, that was pretty funny. I was like, damn, small world, I guess. East Coast Toasted Boy says Trump is wrong for going after DeSantis for no reason, but that's only worth calling out on the immaturity. It isn't worth letting him be wrongfully arrested like this, but both are wrong for not uniting. I really wish they would. Ehab says, what do you think of the left's reaction, or what do you think the left's reaction will be if they don't get a conviction? I mean, I think they're going to continue to be as unhinged as they've always been. I don't think the conviction happening or not happening will make a difference in that. The left will continue to be unhinged. So I don't think that has any real impact on them. Their mental mindset is far gone. And so it doesn't really make a difference, I don't think. The Rand Man says Trump could cure cancer and the media would spin it as a bad thing. Yep. Slag Less says Biden will promise the student loan forgiveness and $2,000 checks for everyone again, and the chicken washers will fall for it again. It's going to be, man, I feel like this country's in really bad shape, man. I feel like the normies are going to wake up. I mean, I don't know. They finally stopped going to see Marvel movies in record numbers, so maybe there is hope. We'll see.
Do you think there's a chance that they're not going to cheat? Like, to me, part of me is like, there's no matter who the Republicans put on the ticket, I have no faith that it'll be a fair election. And I totally believe that no matter what happens, Joe Biden is going to get a second term, and they will ensure with everything that they possibly can that Joe Biden gets a second term. I've just lost faith in the system.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I don't think that changes whether it's DeSantis or Trump, and that's the whole thing. That's why we have to right the wrongs of what's happened in the past, because if Trump is not the guy moving forward, how do you think that anything's going to change for DeSantis or any other Republican?
Nothing.
Yeah. So that's why the past, the rights of the wrongs of yesterday had to be fixed before we can move forward. So getting rid of Trump means nothing, because the next guy up, he's going to have the same fate. So that's why this whole DeSantis is our guy is like, nobody's our guy. if Trump's not our guy, nobody's our guy, because we've watched it happen in real time. So, So I hear you on that for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Chris Karam for two says people are fed up with the establishment system. Agreed. Alice in Blunderland says, even if DeSantis got to be president in 2024, do you think he would be good internationally? I think Trump would be better internationally, and he wanted to do deals with the UK, unlike Obama. Trump likes the UK, Biden doesn't. So as I've said this on streams recently, but my perfect scenario is for Trump to be president, Biden and DeSantis to be vice president, and then you basically clean up everything Biden did. And Trump would, in perfect Jeremy scenario, Trump would focus on international, rebuilding our relationships all around the world, and DeSantis as the VP could focus on everything here. Basically making America into Florida. And then you get 4 years of that. And then Trump, steps aside because obviously his time's up, and DeSantis gets the next 8 years. That's the perfect scenario for me. So Trump focuses on foreign affairs. DeSantis would focus on making America Florida. You're building up for the 2028. And then DeSantis is in a position where he cannot even be remotely touched, because the country and the world is going to be in such better shape with those two guys. That's my perfect scenario. I don't think that's going to happen now. unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
Well, ironically, a lot of the same people that are, saying certain things definitively about this candidate or that candidate also told us without a shadow of a doubt that that was already locked, that was already done, that it was happening.
Yeah.
DeSantis Trump. So,
well, but again, though, that's the thing is, so we heard that but we're also hearing that it was done. And then Ron DeSantis was told that Trump was facing 4 different indictments and he was done. And so DeSantis pulled out of the deal based on bad information. And that's where the divide happened. And suddenly you started seeing Trump go on the offensive. And all of it lines up from a timeline standpoint.
yeah,
All
sounds
of it.
like Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired to me.
No, it does. It lines up. It lines up. Why the fuck would Trump go after DeSantis after he fully endorsed him and DeSantis dressed his fucking baby up in MAGA gear? Why would Trump go after him?
What I'm saying is that like this hey, a secret agreed upon, this is going to happen thing that DeSantis then came off of. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that like DeSantis wasn't exploring his option. That's what I think. Like, that's kind of what I've always said this to you, Jeremy, that there is a very small window sometimes for people in politics. We've seen a lot of people fucking come and go, despite the fact that Geraldo Rivera said that Chris Christie might be the best candidate for 2024, right? There was like this very small window where Chris Christie was this like big name, no pun intended, in the fucking Republican Party. And that fucking disappears in an instant, right? There are people that they think they're going to have bright futures and then that's gone. So I said I did think that DeSantis would at least consider it, at least explore it, because you never know what's going to happen 4 or 5 years from now. That is a fucking lifetime in the political landscape. So I think that DeSantis wasn't willing to like sit there and like bend the knee right away and was willing to explore stuff. And that's what caused a lot of the friction. You know what I mean? Because the idea of, hey, I supported you. Why aren't you supporting me in this? And like, that's what started a lot of the resentment.
I mean,
you guys know that like DeSantis could run as VP for Trump for his second term. And then if DeSantis runs for president, Trump can run as his VP. You guys know that, right?
Jesus Christ. I didn't know that.
Yes. By the constitutional law, Donald Trump can then jump in as Ron DeSantis's VP.
Yeah.
And if something happened to DeSantis, if Donald Trump would, by law, by constitutional law, be able to finish out his term. How amazing. You would see people's heads explode. You would see full-blown hysteria.
Trump would be like 85 years old and still talking like dude, you laugh now, we laugh now.
Stranger things have
differently,
happened,
man. Trump is built differently. So
stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Imagine that. Another 4 years as Trump as president, and then 8 years as Trump as vice president. I mean,
so theoretically, if Trump wins in 2024, regardless of who his VP is, and then let's say Carrie Lake runs in 2028 or something like that, she has the top of the ticket. Trump can be her VP.
100%.
Oh my God.
100%. Yes. A 2-term president can become vice president.
Okay. Man, I'm really excited for that prospect. I'm really excited for that one. That'd be fantastic. Fully Problematic says, Jeremy, are you saying that all these YouTube thumbnails that people have with glowing red laser eyes are fake? Also, fuck Joe Biden, Trump 2024. Yeah, shockingly enough, the red laser eyes were not real. I know. Sorry to burst everybody's bubble. Warblade says, all hail and God Emperor, burn the heretic. Thank you. Christoph, the Polish geek. I like Trump's policies, but my biggest problem with Trump, politicians should never have a fan base. They are supposed to be service of the people, not celebrities. That's fair. I mean, I think that's inevitable, and I've talked about this previously. Like, Trump didn't break the system, Trump didn't break the system. He manipulated the system, like he is a master at doing. Bill Clinton became president off of the momentum of going on Arsenio Hall and playing a saxophone with sunglasses on. That seriously was what elevated him. I remember this.
Yep.
It elevated him so magnificently. And it wasn't because he was the governor of Arkansas. It wasn't on policy. It was because he was cool. George W. Bush got elected because he was the kind of guy you could go have a beer with, you know? Barack Obama was elected because he was a phenomenal scripted speaker, and obviously the media wanted him.
And he was half black.
And he was half black. So like
He was half black, but he sounded white. The perfect combination.
Right. So all of our politicians have been elevated off everything but politics. Like Barack Obama was a community organizer and a one-term senator. It was policy and get him elected. So Trump came in and he took a broken system and he manipulated it to his advantage. What he's done time and time again. So the system has always been the problem. And as I've said this many, many times, and maybe our standards have fallen a little bit since I first made this statement, but I still stand by it. We live in a world where Donald Trump has a better chance of becoming president of the United States than being cast as Batman, because we have a higher standard for who plays Batman than who runs our country. And that was based on George W. Bush and Barack Obama and, Bill Clinton and all of that. So Trump came into this situation and saw we have a low standard for this and I'm going to blow the system up because I know the system.
Yep.
It's just the truth, So, there's Josh's 20 gifted memberships. Thank you, Josh. Mark, oh crap, where'd it go? Jumped on me. Mark says Tim Pool wears so many different masks that he forgot which one he was wearing 2 months ago. The man says what is popular to his beanie heads. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. Mainly it's just the Trump stuff. Tim Pool's smart as hell. Very intelligent guy. But can't get his head right when it comes to Trump. So Christoph says Biden needs to go. That's for sure. Joe Gabagool, as long as the election laws are not changed and is still forfeited, there is no landslide win for Trump or DeSantis. So we need to fix that first. For the Emperor, Corn Pop, where you at? Pop goes Corn Pop. We miss Corn Pop. Ryan talks about Corn Pop all the time. JBM 87, $5 over on Rumble. Why wouldn't he be found guilty? They wouldn't be thinking logically in this. This is all about taking him down no matter what the real evidence is. Anyhow, Trump 2024, make history. Thank you. We are live on Rumble as well. So if you have not followed D-Day Cobra over on Rumble, please do so. Six Riverson, aloha. Y'all remember the Tuskegee experiment? Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, that guy does. That guy does, who was speaking to Fauci. He remembers that.
Yes.
Exactly.
Darren Daly says, no one speaks to King Fauci like that. Guarantee they Pfizered that dude a week later. R.I.P. Dontrell. We'll miss you. God damn.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Bill Stevens. Oh, here's Bill Stevens. I apologize for spamming the chat, but I hate Fauci and I know DeSantis is weak. No problem, man. If I ever get worked up over calling the spam out, it's no problem. So I appreciate you, bud.
It's not that we care about spam. It's that the rest of the chat gets completely derailed from spam because then you can't interact with the chat. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, like my rule, I always feel like if you let one thing go, then you have to ask your question. If we allow one thing to happen, can everybody do it? And what type of impact would that have on the experience? So if everybody spams the chat, it ruins the experience for everyone. Yeah. So that's why you just have so it's almost like on Mario Kart when we, pick random, and I tell everybody to pick random. And if one person doesn't pick random, then what happens if everybody just doesn't? Shout out to Beardo for breaking the rule. Fucking asshole. Anyway,
you got a hard out, right? You got to bounce.
Who, Suresh?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't extend the private chat. I'm sorry. I'm only going to go for, but you guys can both bounce, and I can get. There's only a few more I can get to, but yeah, Suresh, let them know where they can find you.
At The Situation with Suresh on YouTube, of course, everything at 221B Tactical. If you want to get awesome gear and apparel, and including Geeks and Gamers, and now Epic Verse apparel. So you could shop 24/7 at 221btactical.com. Thank you guys for another incredible conversation. I think we had our biggest watch here ever, right?
Total 2,000, including Rumble. So we hit 2,000 today. So
love it. And I will see you guys soon.
All right, buddy. Looking forward to it, man.
All right. Take care, guys.
Drop links. Have a good one, man. All right, you gonna hang here for a minute while I do these? Or you gotta go.
If you only got a couple left, I'll hang.
All right. So Spartacus says on Crowder show today, Alex Jones said that DeSantis looks up to George H.W. Bush. Kind of makes me a bit weary of him more and more. I'm looking forward to watching Crowder on Rumble. I know we had Alex Jones on, so I don't watch Crowder that often, but I will watch for Alex Jones. So that'll be kind of cool. And Baron the Wood says, coming from an Indiana native, DeSantis is the new Mike Pence, and I absolutely loathe the former VP. He ain't looking good right now, but time they can get it turned around. Kevin says, just an FYI, that was Mayor Bowser with Fauci. Was it? Was it?
I don't know who that is.
I didn't know that. Samurai Vader, hoot. Donald Trump is my new N-word. Also, hi, Suresh. Christoph, the Polish geek, says, wait, Clinton was governor of Arkansas? I didn't know that. There you go. Christoph also says, gotta go, but I think you once said, Jeremy, that you voted for Obama in 2008. I think if that's true, is it? Granted, alternative was also bad. So I've never voted until Trump. That was the first time I've ever voted for president. So while I've said I supported Obama in both of his elections because I was so anti George W. Bush and the Republican Party. And so, but I never voted. So until Trump in 2016 is the first time I voted for president. So, but I've never been, so I registered as a Republican and I voted down ballot Republicans for Trump, because obviously if I'm going to vote for Trump, I'm going to try to vote for the party he's part of to support everything he's doing. So, Shellback TJC, if Biden gets reelected, there will be War Eagle. No. But thank you guys so much. Huge stream today. Cobra Cast will be happening later tonight on this channel after Fortnite. So we're playing Fortnite on the main channel. This young man might be showing up to play some Fortnite with us. Ryan Kennel. You excited, Ryan?
Yeah. Ready. Can't wait.
You just sound so excited. Here's a live picture of oh, by the way, I got to play this. So we do the Puerto Rico thing for Rolo, but here's the full clip right here.
We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. And we also love Puerto Rico.
Such a troll, dude. He's such a troll. I never knew the full context of it, but then he's like,
the fact that he's like smiling and grinning like that while talking about like a fucking hurricane just decimating Puerto Rico is so funny. I assume that's what that was about. I don't really remember. It's just funny.
God damn it, he's so funny. But yeah, so
by the way, Feds just approved raising interest rates again by a 1/4 percentage point. So
Jesus.
Stand by for more banks collapsing.
Jeez. Back to that, apparently. Back to that. Wait, hang on.
They're just raising the interest rate as a distraction for the Trump indictment. Just so you
I got a story right here. I got a story. The New York Post just posted this, and this sounds so Trumpian to me. Trump wants to appear in handcuffs if he's charged in New York City.
I believe it. I believe that.
Former President Donald Trump has reportedly said he wants to be hauled into court in handcuffs if he's slapped with unprecedented charges in the hush money case involving porn star Stormy Daniels. Trump 76 told advisors of his plan, saying that if he has to go through the ordeal of getting arrested in a rain, he'd prefer to make it a spectacle. Wednesday, citing unidentified sources close to him. The ex-president, who's seeking also wants to avoid any special treatment that could make him look weak. See, dude, this motherfucker knows how to play the game better than everybody. Okay, that is the most Trump thing I've ever heard. Put me in handcuffs. I want to make a spectacle of this. He is going to make these people pay for what they're about to do to him, and they better realize it, man, because he's going to make you pay. So I love it. Trump is so fucking funny. He's
Yeah,
so
that's
funny.
I said on Saturday, I don't think it's happening. I said yesterday, I don't think it's happening. I don't think he's going to get indicted. I just think there's
Yeah.
too many negatives for all the people at play for that to go through.
Yeah, he wants all the smoke. They're making him
Yeah.
into Tupac, dude. They're making him into Tupac. Didn't Tupac say something about Trump a long time ago? There was like a clickbait video of Tupac Trump where he says something about Tupac talks Donald Trump in and Greed in America in 1992 interview. So hang on. Let me see. So I can find it. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna hit because it's the MTV bullshit and it's on their channel. So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up there. I'll look at this video. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you live for Cobra Cast. I'll see you live for Fortnite tonight. Other than that, you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to all of you a little bit later. Bye, everyone.